Heyo. Yeah, well. I'm seeing the OBS little indicator light. Actually, you can do it right here. Just keep on fucking going to the red, even though the KBs are the same. I'll be all doing good. So, I had to do some really fast stuff before we started. You know, try to get a lot of stuff that I'll be asked to do later done now before going live. Plus, I was going to be doing this. You know, can't get back to the swing of doing like VRChat content. You know, because I mentioned this on Twitter. I was checking it out. But enough, we're going to be approaching 1 year of VRChat streams, or just say 1 year of doing when I hit live on the first VRChat stream. I thought it was end of January, but I actually looked at my little stream summaries from back in around that time, and well, I didn't stream for the latter half of January. I looked at all the dates. It's after January 17th, there's no streams at all until February 1st, which was VRChat. Ah, okay. Sits on that here. I wonder what this symbol is here on this. One of my people in the friends list. Because I had a list and go like, oh, I haven't seen these people in a while. See if there is any world. There is. Oh. I know this avatar creator. Can't keep in the theme of last stream, you know. Oh, that little thing's gonna bother the shit out of me. Some rocking music here. Reading a little thing here. Talking about the models being ripped from my game or the issues. If it's a mobile game, if they were that one file type I fuck with. But how I got the Super Sentai models into VRChat. If that's the problem with all the multiple hands, it's a trial and error finding the right combinations. But this music slaps. It's really good. We got a tall persona lady. Me wearing a 01 Kamen Rider 01 shirt. This is the Ultraman Avatar world, so I know the creator though. So, yeah, Critter Ankh. Not only the character from Kamen Rider O's, but they've also done a bunch of worlds of Kamen Rider themed shows. I thought you were I got my Caputo avatar from. Avatars. Toggle the button. Wow, this big fucking ring of avatars loads. Oh, perfect! It actually tells you on the base who they are. I might actually find the Ultraman that I played probably around here somewhere. Hopefully. So, a ghoul from Ultraman Gaia. As I mentioned this on Twitter, every one of the Ultraman shows that have come out in the US that you can buy like on Blu-ray or DVD from Milk Creek is the company who's putting them out. I do have all of those. So I have been buying all this stuff. Here's Leo. Let me pop this down because you can read the thing. Why I still get this OBS? Why is it still red? Okay. It's the I can't remember. It's actually the favorite Ultraman of Koichi Sakamoto. He's a very long history doing tokusatsu directing. Because he starts with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 3. He carries like all the way on doing like, stunts and action direction. Then it's like, ooh, I don't remember what project he had first worked on, but he worked with Toei on a thing that ends up with him directing the Kamen Rider Double movie, A to Z Forever. Then he directed the Kamen Rider Forza TV show and stuff like that. He's all over the place. But this is his favorite one. Because if you're in the Discord, I posted a video, one in English dub, one in Japanese, of an Ultraman thing that's like over an hour and a half long. And that guy was the director of it, so it's very actiony. It has like basically all the fucking Ultramen in there. Including some that were anime only, so they're all animated, and they put them in live action, and they do some pretty good shit. We got Mavis, we got Orb, Origin. I would have put this in order by show. Like, depending on how you would start, because it's obviously the entrance, I would have put like the first Ultraman here. Like so actually mine's powered with his name, so he should be around soon around here. So Orb Origin. He has like a special orb device and he can summon other Ultramen, and I thought he get his powers. Orb Thunderbreaker. Then Ultra 7 or Ultraman 7. This was the second series. Because I have my weird gestures, so. You have Ultraman Shadow. It's from the Zenith movie, which was like the horns. There he is. There's Ultraman Tiga. This was like the first actual Ultraman show of the 90s, made it from Japan. And this got dubbed by 4Kids in like 2002. So that was like the fourth Ultraman show, like actual live action show, shown in the over here, because it was Ultraman, Ultra 7, then Ultraman Towards the Future / Ultraman Great, and then Tiga. And then I think they aired Dyna, and then that was it. It's like, nah, no one's taking this. Here's a Zirth. But it gives a good angle so you can kind of see. This is work. See the descriptions of people. Here's Zero. Right next to him. He has the thing with him in it. It's actually being released on Blu-ray next week. Called Zero the Chronicle. Because that's something to check out if you're interested. Here's Ultraman Zophy, or Zophy, as I've seen it all recognized. He, like, this character is like fucking a beast. He is super fucking powerful from what I saw, and he loves kicking. He's his theme song said he's the #1 Ultra brother. He's the big brother to everybody, and he kicks the shit out of a lot of enemies. There's Ultraman Ace. Actually, it's kind of a, yeah, because Zophy makes a more of a appearance in Ace's show. Oh, because he appears at the very end of the original Ultraman for just one episode, which is the last episode. But you see him more in here, in his show. They have the pink version of Ace, and then we have Justice Crusher form. This is the movie was called Cosmos, so the Cosmos and Justice, and they have like one extra mode, and then they can fuse together and become Ultraman Legend, like a very powerful Ultraman. I know there's more advertised down below. We'll go to them afterwards. But he's the father of all Ultras. And stuff like that. You also see the little SD versions in the distance. So we have Ultraman 80. He's called that because he was created in 1980. It's a very like different design. But that face is very different. I had a new technique of how to hide the zipper in the costume. Here's the OG. So, original Ultraman, 1966. Heck, you know, a classic design. And fun enough, I did way up here. Did find out there is actually an Ultraman game on the PS2 where we go through the original series. So potentially something I will be playing on the channel. Nice little beat the shit out of a monster, you know, game. And you go through the episodes. And it came out in 2004, so hey. Okay, and then this is a Ultra Woman. So someone, the Avatar world creator was like, hey, I'll make a female version. show what would that look like. They got Ultraman Dyna. No, this was the show after Tiga. I'm not super familiar with the show. It was the 25th anniversary of Tiga. That just ended, and now we're doing the one for 25th anniversary of Dyna, so yeah. And here's the Ace Killer, which is a villain for Ultraman Ace. You know, he's an assassin. Then we have Ultraman Nexus. I have this game as well. It's a PS2 game. It's actually very dark, story-wise. So they actually kind of experimented. So the only real like from what I've seen, like kind of know how dark it is. The direct comparison I could make with that is like a bit like Kabuto, Kamen Rider Kabuto, like how darkish that story can tend to get with its material. Like it's kind of what the only comparison I can make with Nexus. And here's Cosmos. As I said, and his extra form, Cosmos Eclipse. I think that form's probably around here. The fusion of him and Cosmos and Justice. Yeah, so standard form and obviously more powered up is the Eclipse form. He was Gaia Supreme. This was the fourth show. The third show is right after Dyna. So like it's kind of like 98, 99, I want to say. I wish we had like the dates on here. I kind of know what year. Together, it's like the most powerful Ultraman. Then here's Ultraman Ginga. It's pretty. I like the kind of the design has it because like these are all glowing bits for power. Which I always kind of like that on a suit. Here's Ultraman Jack. His intro to his theme song is fucking good too. Very the very beginning gives me a little of that Then we have Ultraman King. It's like very powerful. Obviously, he's the king, so he's like the super powerful guy. They were the brothers. There's Ultraman Russo and Ultraman Blue. So red and blue. This was a 2018 series. For how they're releasing the stuff over here, this is like the most recent show that you can buy on Blu-ray. Is RB. It's kind of neat because their colors are represented by certain Ultramen. So that's how they transform, and their forms are related to that. You kind of see in the background their other forms. I also have to get down there. Ooh, I see those other suits in the background too. So Raymon here from Ultra Gal. Here, making it serious. Thexon, the Ultraman Road, Ultraman by layout, just actually right here. Press impasse with unaware of his origins. Coaches actually give you more information about like how their powers are, like what their moves are like. Let's have to transform into one of them. This is Belia, so this is like his villain. That's why his eyes are like slightly similar, if you can tell. Yeah. So you have the mother of Ultras. So father's was over there. Here's the mom. You know, she has like the molded ponytail. Here's the Ultra 7X. This reads like a Wikipedia article. Now that I'm looking at it. 20th century, along with Ultraman, revival 87. Oh, the 67 classic Ultra 7, who we saw over there. First survivor Ultraman series to be exclusively to an adult audience in widescreen high definition format. Aired in 2007. After Zero the Chronicle comes out on Blu-ray in March, this show comes out on a DVD on March 22nd. Here's Taiga. So this is the first Ultraman of the Reiwa era of Japan that we are currently in. So would be 20. Would be like 2019, 2020, around that time that's when this started. Because the difference with how Ultraman is currently their shows are like 25 episodes instead of going for 50, which is kind of nice because now that they can get more content out. So Ultraman Max again also has a good intro theme song. Then we have Cosmos Space Corona form. This is another form of obviously Cosmos. It's all purple. Whole lining. I thought it needs to be in like a better form. So Ultraman XX Seed, it's like a powered up form. This Camelia. She was the antagonist of the Tiga movie from the year 2000, because that's how they kind of like they did a movie like a couple years later after this show, and she was in there. They kind of have a version of her in Trigger, so she's in Ultraman Trigger as like one of the big antagonists. Geed Acro Smasher. Orb Burn Might has like the horns like Taro and design like Mavis. So you're brute basically. So fire and like strength together. And you have Glenn Fire. He helps out Zero. Oh, so like he's just like a bodyguard character. Oh, I think I've seen our character. Maybe. This is the Geed Royal Mega Master. This is a fusion of Ultraman King and assets of King and Bale. So I use both to make this character. I can tell actually by those eyes. They're very Bale-like. Okay. Okay, Geed Solid Burning. 7 in Leo. So 3. You have Geed Ultimate Final. So this is from the movie. Yeah, I don't know, like a weird angle, so every time I turn, this looks weird to me. The Jean Bot. The royal family is. Not sure where you're from. Got Mirror Knight. This from a series called Mirror Man. It's another one of those tokusatsu shows that Subaru had worked on. Oh, perfect! It's another form of Nexus, the Anphans, ANPHANS. This is like the default normal mode. Okay, so the name comes from the French word enfance, meaning childhood, such as it is as a base form. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, we're almost at the end of this side. Orb and Miriam Slugger.
Or
form that's from 7 and 0. Light action fusion form. Rapid attacks with martial arts, beams, and his 3 crest weapons to overwhelm his enemies. Okay. You have Orb, Hurricane, Slash. Power the Dragon 0. It's apparently had this. Okay. We have Orm, Spacium, Zephyron. So this is from the very first episode. Ooh. He uses this form a lot. Okay, and you have Tiga Dark. So basically, Tiga was like a darkish character, and then he turned to the light. That's why that one, a Chimera, is like the villain. She liked when he was on the dark side. So kind of how it goes, you know. Like, I want you to go back to the dark side. It's just like, no, I don't want to do that. So, Tiga Tornado, which say powers fire type Tiga. So, just the dark version that absorbs another power. Then Gaia V1. Okay. Okay, so V1 cannot transform into anything. He stays at V1 until he levels up to another version, which is right here, which is a version 2, and then he can transform into different forms. Alright. They have Maebus Brave, first power form of Maebus. Or Mebius. Oh, when your gestures are having trouble. There we go. Mebius. Mebius? Yeah, this is the first powered up form of him. Trying to think which way to go now. I think we keep going this counterclockwise. No, be clockwise. Never mind. I start at like 6 o'clock. Basically, you just go around that way. So, got Mobius, Burning Brave. This is his second powered up form. And Phoenix Brave, which is his most powerful form. So they're both the same character. So second powered up form, and then the ultimate final form, most powerful form is this one. Then there's Mabius in Infinity, where he combines with the 6 Ultra Brothers, which are the original 6 Ultramen from back in the day. So Ultraman 7, Zafi, Ace, Leo, Tato. Also, like, those come together, they form with them, and they make this form. Then here's Ultraman Justice standard form, which is just default. And then you have Ultraman the Next, which is, this came out in 2004. So it's kind of like they're like, trying to like reinvigorate Ultraman for the 21st century type of thing. So it's a different like, kind of style to them. Then you have the next Anthens. So does it say here it's just his first form? So like this is like the complete version, and it's like the basic like incomplete. They look very similar. So we had like almost like a cracked look on his chest compared to him. Then we have Ultraman Victory and Ultraman Victory Knight. So basic form, and then enhanced version. Okay, and here's Ultraman X. Or who chases promise he sells in Spanish to savages, so he triggered the Ultra Flare, which causes his physical body, perfect traction to state that he uses fitness to travel. Ah, okay. The X, then you have his Beta Spark Armor, which is used for Exceed X, which I think is a movie. Interesting. I think also the armor. It's saying the armors represent different Ultramen. So his right arm is the original Ultraman. I can kind of see that with like the little orb on the shoulder. So original Ultraman and then Tiga. Then they have Ella King here. So he scanned a card. I think this is a card show, I'm assuming. They keep mentioning digital stuff, so I'm assuming that's kind of what's going on. So, okay, it has a kind of an eel look to it on one side. Okay. X Gamora. Oh, that fucking thing. That was that big weird ass monster that kept beating the shit out of me, like stage 7 of the fucking Ultraman powered game. If that's a fusion with this card. So its head is part of the chest. Okay. So Ultraman Zero Beyond. So one of its 2 greatest forms. He appeared in Ultraman Guide because Zero just shows up in randomly in different series. They have Zero Darkness, which is his Zero's dark form. We was taken position by Ultraman Belia. Then we have Strong Corona Zero. So Cosmos is Corona mode and Ultraman Dyna's strong type. Okay. Then Luna Miracle Zero. Right, Ultraman Cosmos Luna mode with Dyna's Miracle type. Okay. This is Orb Lightning Attacker. This Ginga and X fight. You scan both cards. Okay, yeah. So this is obviously Orb scans cards apparently too. I'm trying to remember like everything about the note, because the Orb can also summon other Ultramans as well, so this is a fusion of those two. Of Ginga and X. Then you have Trinity Slasher. Sure. Okay, this one seems to just be different power up. Which is good. So there's Ultraman Dyna Miracle mode, which is mentioned over there. There have Dyna Strong form, so strength. Miracle is speed. So fast form, strong mode. There's Agul V1, which is from Gaia. It's like the secondary writer. There you have Cosmos Corona mode. Well, this makes reference is what it looks like. Then we have Ultraman Leo, another Geonosis? It's not Geonosis, it's Geonosis. So, my body keeps wanting to just go away. Yeah, honestly. I need to keep that body under control, keep it in tracking, so my body doesn't just go flying off, because what the fuck? Okay. So it's kind of like from another dimension, it's reading like. So here's, oh, I'm literally right against my chair right now, that's what I'm opening into. This is Ultraman Ginga Victory. hang on, let me bring this down. I gotta see that. Ginga Victory, also known as Ultraman Ginga Victory as one word, not two. What? It's a fusion of Ginga Victory, obviously. So they scan their Both of the Ultraman Future Brains with the Victory Lance. So like, kind of became like this form like very powerful compared to other Heisei characters at the time. Okay. Then here's Ultraman Noah. Which, this is part of the whole Ultraman the Next. So this was another character part of that series of what they were doing. He's also the oldest Ultraman. He's like 350,000 years old. He's from like a different entire reality. Here he is. This is Ultraman Jonas. This is from The Ultraman. This was an anime. This is an anime show. It's the first one that they did like that. So like, he's like a very strong warrior. You have a Tector Gear Black. Not 100% sure where you're from, because you don't mention it here. So Juggler. Hey, why is my foot all bent up? There, thank you. So this is like the villain from Orb. That's who Orb, the main villain that Orb has to fight. Then we have Rosso Aqua, which uses when he uses the Ginga Crystal. Here's Rosso Wind when he uses Tiga's Crystal. And here's Rosso Ground when he uses Victory's Crystal. So strength, speed, and then alternate force that focuses on agility and continuous attacks. X. So yeah, for make sure you guys so strong, speed, and then agility and continuous attacking people. Then blue flame, which is Tata. This is blue ground. This is Victory. And blue wind when he uses Tigas. So they use the same type of crystals on different characters to different moves, even though they're very similar, like power-wise. All right. Next up, over here, I have a little corner right here. This is Guide Magnificent, the fusion rise of Zero and the father of Ultra. So has to be like super powerful for that. Now here's where we're getting to some stuff here. So this is Ultraman manga, aka the Netflix Ultraman show, where they're like suits. Also, how they appear in Override 2, the mech fighting game, because the Ultraman was a edition that you bought. Hot. Then we have Ultra Dark Killer, which was from a pachinko game. This is a pachinko game character, but he appeared in Ultra Galaxy Fight New Generation Heroes. That's like on the YouTube channel. Here's Cosmos Future Fight. Future Mode, sorry. I'm thinking of the Marvel game Future Fight when I see something future. Don't mind my brain. My brain does weird shit all the time. So it's powered by future energy. Then we have Ultraman Jack from the manga. Again, also that Ultraman Netflix show. Oh, and then Ultra 7 from the same thing from the manga, the Ultraman manga. That was an Ultraman Netflix series. Where they're kind of like mech suits versus like spandex and everything. All right. There's a couple down here. So Manga Ultra 80, Manga Ultra Tiga, Manga Ultra Zero, Manga Ultra Dyna. No. This Dark Zagi. This is the villain of Ultra Neo. Hey, Luke. Hey, Lupin, how you doing? I'm just trying my best to explain who these characters from this Ultraman Avatar world are, because I'm very very noobish in this genre, so I'm trying my best. Yeah, that's who Ultraman Noah is, like the villain. This is their villain. They have Ultimate Zero. So Zero becomes Ultimate Neo, when he wears the Ultimate Aegis given to him by Ultra Noah. His form gives Zero chest armor and a sword on his right arm, in addition to more power and the ability to freely travel between universes. Alright. This is Ultraman Hikari, the secondary ultra hero of Ultraman Mebius. He was once an excellent scientist who was the head of the Space Science Technology Bureau of the Land of Light. At one point, Hikari became Hunter Knight Tsurugi after his failed defense of the planet Arb. Okay. 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 This is Ultra... I see my fucking full body fucking up. It's annoying. So here's Ultraman Titus. So he's from Tiga. He's like one of like he's your buff guy, you know, your strength. So Ultraman Titus is one of the 3 main Ultra Warriors from Ultraman Taiga. He debuted alongside Ultraman Taiga and Ultraman Fuma as the first Ultra Warriors in the Reiwa era. He is a warrior and a sage from planet U40, the birthplace of Ultraman Jonius. With his careful trained body and healthy spirit, he is skilled at heavyweight battles. I'm doing pretty good. Ultraman Neos. Ultraman Neos is the titular Ultra Hero featured in the direct-to-DVD Ultraman series Ultraman Neos. He came to Earth to defend humanity from monsters and aliens alongside his partner Ultra 721. Neos chose Genki Kagura from the defense team Heart and his host during his time on Earth. He is part of the Elite Task Force, a group within the Intergalactic Defense Force composed of especially heroic members. Alright. He also has a very classical design. Ultraman Xenon, also known as Ultraman Xenon. I'm not joking. See, Xenon and then Xenon with an X and a Z is Ultraman Max's superior. He arrived to help Ultraman Max when he was in danger, and I want to give Ultraman Max the Max Galaxy. I remember that was in that the Absolute Conspiracy thing I shared. Ah, fair enough. They just had a funny mention that they just had a 25th anniversary series for Taiga called Ultraman Trigger that just finished airing. You can watch that all on the official Ultraman YouTube channel. Ultraman Taiga. Yeah. So, there's Ultraman Taiga Photon Earth. Photon Earth is Taiga's armored, powered up form in which he... Tracking? Hello? Tracking, thank you. Armored power-up form in which he becomes the hero of light and sky. This power was granted to him through Tanoji's psychic abilities, which drew out the ancient energy of the earth that combines with Taiga's power of light and is ascended through the use of the Taiga Photon Earth key holder. Taiga's strength and resilience are increased as a slight trade-off for speed and mobility. This form makes its debut in episode 8. Okay. Okay. They were about to be finished with this era, too. Then we have Ultraman Taiga Tristrum. Tristrum is Taiga's fusion power form, access to the use of a Taiga Tri-Blade, in which he becomes the hero of bonds. Taiga, Titus, Fuma, and Hiroyuki become one of the grant Taiga a boost in all his stats. This form debuts in episode 16. The Tri-Squad can also fuse into Tristrum without Hiroyuki by remembering the bond that they had with their friends on. And that's what the sentence ends. So as long as you remember your bond with one person, you can still transform into that form. This is Ultraman Fuma. Ultraman Fuma is one of the 3 Ultra Warriors in Ultraman Taiga. He debuts along with Taiga and Ultraman Titus as the first Ultra Warriors of the Reiwa era. Ultraman Fuma is from planet O50, I think. The planet where Ultraman Orb, Rosso, and Blue acquire the power to become a warrior of light. He has quick reflexes and various techniques that make him strong in battles that require speed. Oh, I clicked something. Oh, I became him. Okay. By speed, he has a rough personality, but also a strong sense of duty. Alright. Alright. Very basic, there's no like, extra abilities on him. Dark Lugiel is the main antagonist of Ultraman Ginga. He and Ultraman Ginga were formerly one entity, but were separated after clashing between their point of view towards life forms. So, all right, we're nearing the end. So, Balia Atrocious. Ultraman Balia Atrocious is Balia's ultimate fusion rise form, which uses assets of Dark Lugiel and Alien Emperor in union with K's strum organ to absorb Ultraman King's energy from space. Unlike Balia's other most monstrous form rise, Atrocious is the closest equivalent to Greed's fusion rise form. This form debuts at the end of episode 23 of Ultraman Geed. This form is more powerful than Geed's Royal Mega Master form. Okay? Oh, I know who this is. This Ultra Woman Grigio. Ultra Woman Grigio, Grigio, is a female Ultra Warrior and is the younger sister of Ultraman Russo and Ultraman Blue. She first appeared in the Ultraman R/B the movie. They should? Yes, they do. Right next to them. This is Ultraman Groob. Ultraman Groob, formerly spelled Ultraman Groob, Groob, so that's how you say it. Is a super Ultraman born from the fusion of Ultraman Russo, Ultraman Blue, and Ultra Woman Grigo. He first appeared in Ultraman RB the movie. Select the Crystal of Bond. So all 3 of them fuse and become this. So then without her, the 2 of them would form Ultraman Rube, which is a fusion of just the 2 of them. He's a super Ultraman formed from the fusion of Russo and Blue, debuting in episode 15. Then we have Ultraman Trigar, who is the antagonist of the RB movie. He later becomes the main antagonist of the succeeding series, Ultraman Taiga. He was once Ultraman Taro's friend and a scientist of the Land of Light who created the Taiga Spark, but several disappointments and obstacles drove him down a dark path. Now we have Ultraman Saga. Ultraman Saga is a super Ultraman who is created from a fusion of Zero, Dyna, and Cosmos, similar to how the latter fuses with Justice into Ultraman Legend. His only appearance was in the 2012 film Ultraman Saga. So yeah. So yeah, that's the best I can do explaining what everyone in Ultraman. Sadly, the foreign Ultraman are not here. So no Ultraman Great, no Ultraman Powered, or Ultraman Reboot. But we haven't seen at all, because Reboot is a Malaysian Ultraman that aired with a show. It was like a kid show that he appeared in. Grab this one. Okay, this is seemingly around him, aren't I? Yep, I knew it. So yeah. My hands are flat. I have no fingers. It's one of his hands. Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, that character's actually like the kind of protagonist in the current Ultra Galaxy fight, like movie-ish web series they have on their channel. Because they represent the new generation heroes. So he's in there. He's training from Ultraman powered and great. They train him to unlock his true potential, and they help him out. So yeah. Yeah, he has the OG. And we have all the like SD Ultramen just guarding the mother. Is a toggle or anything around here? They're just all just here guarding. Ah. There's a secret. You can actually be that one girl who's over there. You can get her avatar. Human geared Futabi. I love the description too. And everyone else was like excellent or good, and she's like in the poor category. A custom model that I made of a Persona 5 character calls Futabi as a human gear. Why? Because I'm a big fan of Kamen Rider. This is a Kamen Rider 01 reference. You're all free. You all free to you her. Okay. Alright. Okay. You got a father of Ultra just kind of chill here, like, yeah. Like, ready to fight someone. There's a big ass fucking portal world right over there. Bunch of worlds to join into. Then of course Ultraman, the King Ultraman, just sitting there on his throne. Alright, let's see. So we got Sark's Kamen Rider World, which is apparently outdated. Put it like this so you can see the names. We have the The End World. We have Chaos Kamen Rider Team World. The End Denliner Train Carts from Kamen Rider Den-O. Lanark's Kamen Rider World. Stark Tiku's Kamen Rider Avatar World. Godzilla Temple V19. Tokusatsu Godzilla map. I believe I know if this is. I think this is where I got that one Godzilla and Gigan model from the next mini. Sure, where else you can make things look bigger. This is the Super Sentai World Beta. I've been here before. They haven't updated it since the 40th anniversary, so it's just go to Juoja, but it doesn't have all of the avatars up to that point yet. Then you have the Kuga, the Kamen Rider Kuga Gao World I've been to before. It's the Kamen Rider 3 Gao Chan V2. Kamen Rider City. I've been here before. It's actually pretty neat. It's based on the old mobile game City War. You to build your own town. It's based on Kamen Rider Build. You have the Drive Pit from Kamen Rider Drive. Say the cars. Kamen Rider Len. You would hit these cups to get to the different avatars. There's actually a Go Anjir avatar in there. Beardlet's World. I've been here too. This has a gesture-controlled Kamen Rider avatars. Little finicky. And then there's a Jili Fu's Rider Quest World. So this is quest compatible. I believe this is the big ass world. There's like a shit ton of avatars that are represented by 2D pictures. And you click on them. Yeah, I believe how that goes. Oh, I didn't even go to the other side. I'm a dope. I didn't even go to this side. We have a loading world, so we'll never know what this is. But here's so Warcraft's Godzilla with avatars with the Godzilla update. Here's Infinity's Camerata world. Camerata Saber Sword of Logos, and the Kabuto world. This is the guy who made this world. So that's where I got the Kabuto model that I had used. I'm gonna check this one out. Braid says it's gonna send me to a fucking public world. Okay, it is a public, but I'm the only one here, which is good. Okay, I've been here before, yeah. This is all the Godzilla models. I remember this world now. Yeah, it's the okay. This movement's really weird, but this is a EVA Unit 1 with the Godzilla spines. If I can just grab the camera, if I could just give me the thank you. Give me the camera. Give there. Do. We ski around while I try to find a fucking mirror. There we go. Yeah, this is weird because I'm not moving the stick. This turning is just me moving my head back and forth. It's like my hand. It's just an idle animation. Okay. I have skill attacks. Okay. I only have 3 skills. That's it. Give me a set to transform back. Oh no, the thing. That's a good question. No, I don't know the answer. The real answer is actually all around us. It's just someone else has to be here to summon. So be. Okay, now you don't want to do it? Okay. My leg was literally just flying all over the place just now. Well, I'm all by myself, so obviously there's no other monster to battle, sadly. This is a public, so someone could join at any point. That would cause a problem, you know. It might join and it might say something and make me have to delete the VOD, and I would really not want to do that shit. So we'll go back to up here. That's one question. I've played Yu-Gi-Oh! Before. Yu-Gi-Oh! Started around the time When it came out over here, it was like middle school time for me. So I haven't touched Yu-Gi-Oh since around then, which would be like early to mid-ish 2000s. I have not played the new Master Duel game. The new Yu-Gi-Oh game that just came out, I haven't touched it at all. Played the Yu-Gi game. There was a Yu-Gi-Oh game on the PlayStation One. I think it's called Forgotten Memories, and there's also one called, I think it's called Duelist of the Rose. Those were like the two I played. And Duelist of the Rose is like a weird board game hybrid. You had to move the cards around a board to attack each other. So it wasn't like you were playing actual Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay. So the other one here, question you had, one question Yuchi. What other series are you into? It's basically Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Ultraman. I didn't grow up with it. Only recently have I kind of really started watching it. You know, obviously I love Godzilla. You know, no, fix yourself, chat. There you go. I haven't really sat down but like, here's my favorite stuff. Like, what I'm into. I'll probably just like, if I say, oh yeah, I'm into that. You know, I like Gundam. I like Macross. I love Dragon Ball. I used to be into Bleach. But then it just went too long. Seemed like One Piece and Naruto. Ooh, nice. I've seen some good things. Hmm. Looking at my feet on the floor. We have this flat platform, so I just want to make sure my feet are on the ground. Do 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 do. I should probably check it out at some point. Now I should grab a drink real quick. My mouth is parched. Yeah, take care of the. Oh, okay. No, putting my hands down will make my body do this. All right, all right, all right. I will deal with this. Deal with this. Okay, I'll try my best. Hopefully, this will go up. So all I did was put my hands like this. That's it. And I went to go grab something to drink. That's all. It locked my hands in a position and didn't follow my head. Nope. Yep. I will. That's the danger of the full body tracking. You know, you have to figure it out. Okay, well your hands are there, but your head is moving, but your hands is here, so we can't move your body. See, everything will start stretching and going all over the place. Okay, everything's all fucky right now because it's loading a bunch of stupid shit in the background. Okay, I thought so. Encoder? Why? Oh. This happens time to time with index. You must reset the hands. Yeah, it's almost close enough. Where's my eyes? Alright. Sounds good. Hand tracking's a little off, which is never good. Ba 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 da. Do 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 do. Oh. Ba-da-doop. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Go to the ship. It's apparently in the community labs. So let me check it out. All right. Do 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 do. Oh, thank you so much for the follow, Shia G19. How are you doing today? I'm just doing random shit. I was going in Ultraman world, just trying to explain who the different Ultraman are. I mean, those avatars all had descriptions, so I tried my best to explain it because it's something I'm not really 100% knowledgeable about. And now I'm just kind of doing random stuff now. That's good to hear. I'm doing good as well. Ah, they are on. Interesting. I know the feeling. Well, yeah, okay. They were doing some moments where I tried to play VRChat and I was sick. That's not fun.
Same here. Same here. Hoard them points. Hoard them.
Hi, Jan.
Heyo.
I mean, technically, you could put up like a vote and then like put all your points into the vote and then get rid of all your points pretty instantaneously. Like left me too. Affirmative.
Yeah, make it a dumb poll, right? For two decisions. Have people bet the points against each other.
And then you decide whoever wins.
Yep.
You could all just donate your life savings.
No. People have to save up for like a place on their own for a bigger play space so that way they can walk in VR. Go in sleep mode. Have a good sleep mode, you. Good night. So let's see. Today we have a topic from a video that I watched
Oh.
this morning while I was working. Because all of my topics come from videos. I am not original whatsoever.
Hmm.
Then
Where are
what is
you?
originality?
A tremendous benefit of this approach is the reduced cost of living. The less we need, the more time, money, and energy we save. So can we apply minimalism to our social connections to gain the same benefits? Can we be happy with a minimal amount of friends or even without friends? Ideally, a social minimalist gets by with a minimal amount of social connections, just enough to fulfill his social needs. But many consider living with few or without friends unhealthy and painful. Being friendless deprives us of the benefits of a social group. So is a lack of friends synonymous with a dreadful existence of loneliness and social isolation? Do the friendless indeed deserve our pity? People seem to agree that having friends is always better than having none. Therefore, we celebrate the blessing of friends. Having many friendships means we have many options to socialize, and thus no shortage of pleasurable human interaction. However, as far as the social minimalist is concerned, having fewer friends has benefits as well. And in some cases, going without friends is the best option. Can we be happy without friends? This video explores the benefits and downsides of friendship.
So that's today's premise is friendship, social minimalization, and what's necessary and what's not necessary as far as social connection, social resources go. So, don't crash. Without friends, you have it easier to get new ones, though. I can live with minimal IRL friends, but I want all the internet friends that I can get. They bring that up in the video as well, that there's a difference between IRL friends and internet social connections. Attractive. So with internet social connections, there's no amount of like physical connection. Like you can't help me move. If I need to like pack my things and move to a different apartment. The internet be like Pokemon. Gotta catch them all. But also with internet friends, it's really easy to connect to everyone that has the same interest as you.
Yeah.
And with friendships, it's friendships are there so that way you can, let's change camera angles. Friendships aren't like romantic interests. You don't have to be attracted to your friend. You don't have to necessarily love your friend. You just have to get along with your friend and do something with them. Whatever that something is. Whether that friend is there to get pizza with you on Wednesdays and that's it. Whether that friend is just to be like your coworker friend. Whether that friend be something else entirely. There's different types of friends that you can have. And I believe that a social minimum, I'm a very IRL less person. I'd much rather have, um, I'm more afraid of the, no, no. Hmm. So I had a friend group in college that I played Dungeons and Dragons with, and that was a lot of fun because we shared the same interest of Dungeons and Dragons. So I liked that IRL friend group, and so I tried to establish a Dungeons and Dragons friend group on the internet, and I was able to do it, but it didn't have the same feeling. It had the creative freedom, but it didn't have the social freedom that came with seeing other people. So as far as Dungeons and Dragons groups go, and then I tried the Adventurers League because I was done doing the internet friend D&D group. It's like after DMing them for like 6 months, I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I went to the Adventures League, and that they were all complete strangers, and so I went like 2 or 3 times to kind of get the feel for what that was like. And that was a different type of strangers meeting up to be creatively free together. It had a more IRL vibe. You get there to play a cooperative game and meet new people. But none of the people that I met there were interesting in their own right or had something deeper in their life that they can contribute to mine. So it was very surface level D&D with new people. Oh, and then I had improv troupe friends where we all signed up for an improv class together. And so I had 11 people that I knew, and that we would sometimes, some of us would get together and practice outside of class at the theater. And that was an eclectic group of people because none of us were going to college. All of us were at the different stages in our life. There were mothers, fathers, all type of LGBTQ members, as well as very religious fanatics. I'd just say religious people who followed their religion. And we all got together, even though we had a lot of different belief systems and a lot of different things that we would never get together outside of this improv troupe where we just wanted to make each other laugh and make other people laugh. And so that was a very unique perspective of working with people in a collaborative effort to put on a stage performance where I did not know any of them beforehand, and within like 6 months I got to know all of them, and we all got to know each other's style of improv. So I think that that's something impressive that wouldn't necessarily no. So the benefits of having IRL improv versus digital improv is real-time feedback. You can actually like do physical comedy with your friends. I tried running an improv group in VRChat, interactive, and they were missing like 30% of the bits that they can do. A lot of it was a slower form of improvisation because you have a 2 second delay between everything. You can't do any synchronicities things where both of you say something at the same time and look at each other's mouths and like repeat after the other, or do like funny bits with like and or whatever. And it was missing core part of what makes an improv troupe fun to be around. But it was easier to find people to improv with because these people were in the role-playing community, and it's easier to find people across the globe, sync up schedules, and then have like a consistent basis of people to come through rather than having to rely on cars and whatnot.
Mm.
So there's conveniences with, and if anyone got sick, or you don't have to worry like about creepers joining the group, and following other people home and stuff like that. So that's nice. So there's safeties, costs, and benefits for different types of social groups for different people and for different reasons. For social minimalism, what is a friend? Why is a friend? Who is a friend? Where is a friend? So why is a friend? I believe that we are social creatures. There have been plenty of studies that solitary confinement, like in prisons and isolation, basically makes you go insane. So we need social interaction. I would say that there are probably outliers or people with neurodivergent thinking that'll take an easier time with less social interaction, where they could just have like books or movies or whatever and be totally fine in social isolation for years. Because the social interaction they're getting is content from other people through a novel, through a movie. And that's why I think the thought experiment of if everyone was to like leave the earth at the same time, and there was just one person left, that person, depending on who they were, may or may not be lonely, depending on if they can get their social interactions through novels, or not. No, lonely might happen anyways, but be socially not isolated by having like histories of people to go through. Um, I think that it would be fascinating for me to have a world completely devoid of everyone else, figure out how to live my life in such a way to be sustainable until I die of old age. I'm pretty sure for the first 30 years, canned goods would be just fine, but I need to like go to library, figure out how to do farming. I'd have internet or electricity for 24 1 to 3 days before the coal power plants went out. I want to like go south for the winter, northish for the summer, maybe learn how to install power plants. Technically, I could code my own things, look into circuitry, and seeing if there could be any automation that might help. Farming might be a thing that I'd have to learn how to do. But there's also food storage that can last 50, 70, 200 years. And if I just, there's a bunker that is supposed to last for a long time. I've seen like a YouTube channel about this bunker. I could possibly go there and have all the amenities that I'd ever need because it recycles water. It's basically like a giant fallout shelter.
Mm.
Um, and so, is it in Texas? I'm not sure where it is. I could learn to fly. So planes just need like, I don't know how long natural gas would work, but I've learned how to do Elite Dangerous, flying with a joystick and stuff. I think that there might be simulators at different schools, might be able to start up a generator, run the simulators. I'm doing, okay, I'm going to stop this thought experiment because I've gone on way too much. I know I've thought about this a lot. But it would be really,
I would not recommend attempting flight in a situation like that.
yeah,
There's a
because I know
lot of
that,
other stuff that goes into it that it's just better when you go to ground school and you get like in cockpit flight instruction with another qualified pilot.
Affirmative. Maybe I'd have to learn from, well, I guess, but there's also, that would be fun to try to restart up the Google servers and then find video flight instructions. But anyways, that's not going to happen. So I don't need to think about it too hard or actually follow through and go learn how to fly and learn how to do all these things. Unlike some people that I know that are very doomsday oriented and believe that doomsday will happen pretty much every year. And they're older people. And so
I mean, we always have that doomsday
Uh,
clock. It's been going on for many years from the science community.
well, there's always something.
Yeah.
But if we're going to be, we just went through a doomsday event. We just went through COVID.
True.
And
And weirdly enough, the entire year began with the fear of World War III, and we're kind of in that same boat again with what's going on over in the Middle East again. People forgot about that,
Yeah.
didn't they?
I'm
That was literally the talk about this potential World War III, and then COVID happened. I
like,
remember-
wait one moment. This war has to happen 6 feet apart.
Yep.
Social distancing our war. Here's a thought. Why is it social distancing instead of just distancing? Physical distancing. I think it was I don't know where that came from. I heard it, and that's the term that people used. Why was that the term? Social distancing. Interesting.
Probably social as like
Preparing for the end of the
society.
world,
So like the entire society should be 6 feet
will be
apart.
prepared for a natural disaster. Yeah. Social distancing versus distancing social events. I don't know. It's a weird nomenclature. English is weird. We've talked about English before and words choices. But back on the friend things. I don't need a whole lot to be happy. And that's stoicism, right? So you can be a billionaire and be sad. Bye, foot. Come back to me. Maybe if I walk over here, it'll come back. Probably not. Wait for it to recalibrate. But stoicism is as the act of like being happy, just being yourself. Attractive. And it's not necessary for us to exist in a world.
Okay, now you're just stuck. All right.
Exist. Oh no. Come back, foot. I need you. Please?
Is it just not being tracked? Is it all green?
Let's see.
There we go.
All right, there you go. Broken again. Yep. So for friendship, I don't need any IRL friends. If I doubted that, these past 2 years of not going further than the dentist's office outside of my house in the past 2 years, would take care of that. I do not need to see people IRL to live a fulfilling life and not be socially isolated from people. VRChat is a way for me to get socially adept with people. But also, I don't need to do VRChat for very long to be fulfilled. Maybe an hour or an hour and a half. at most. Um, so those are days where like I'll go onto VRChat and be completely mute and just go to public worlds. I don't know. I think both of you have followed me when I'm doing something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just my social, like walking around the mall type of thing where you walk around the mall just to walk around the mall, not to purchase anything. And just
Kind of
to
like the movie
observe other people's life.
Mallrats.
I have not seen that. If it's anything like Paul Blart Mall Cop, I need to see it. If it's not, then I do not need to see it.
No, it was the second movie by Kevin Smith that he made. So it was
Also,
like,
do not know that director.
he made the movie Clerks.
Silent Bob.
Nope,
Ah,
You know who Jay and Silent Bob are?
not even remotely.
Didn't he do Garden State?
Red State.
Oh yeah.
But yes, I did know that I went to a public world. I did that on purpose to see if anyone would join, and no one did.
Before here?
Yeah.
Yep.
Was it a Friend's Place Black Cat?
No,
no.
that was.
That was afterward.
Okay.
I made a public version of this world. Usually, sometimes I just make public versions of worlds that no one goes to see if anyone shows up.
Ah,
Usually my worlds, because they're like,
optimize.
hey, meet the creator.
Okay.
I've only met one person that knew me. Were you there for that? Are you? I don't remember.
Maybe.
I think I was there.
No idea. Or was it Cookie? I don't remember. Or like I went to my one place and then I went here and then people started showing up and people did like dances and person was streaming. I don't know. Anyways, remember Jay and Bob from Dogma? I don't. I have a particular set of skills. This set of skills is knowing of good taste. I have good taste in films, and apparently I've not watched it, so therefore it's not a good film.
That was a good movie, though.
I don't know. I'm picky. I watched The Matrix 4 yesterday while playing RuneScape. Don't at me.
So it
So, what, Gay, how
it
did
was
you like it?
encapsulating enough that you used it as background noise.
I use everything as background noise when I'm addicted to an MMO. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I watched. Well, RuneScape really isn't that like engaging to begin with. It's more like click here, wait a minute, click here, wait a minute.
Mm.
So it was more like I was watching the movie and had RuneScape on in the background.
Why did you like it?
I loved it, but also I can see why people would be disappointed in it. It's an okay movie, but it's not a phenomenal groundbuster. Like you just came out with Half-Life 1 for the first time type of thing.
Or The Matrix 1 for the
The
first
Source
time.
Engine. Yeah.
I mean, considering the third movie, I wouldn't really go into watching the fourth one with much in the way of expectations.
Yep. When I saw who was in it, I was like, how are they going to do this? And then it was like, Resurrection. Okay, that's how they're going to do this. They're going to do a Mass Effect. But so the original like Matrix concept was everyone was plugged in to the Matrix and they didn't use them as batteries because meat as batteries just doesn't work. They used them as neural networking devices, which makes a lot more sense because it's easier to grow a person than it is to try and grow
Yeah,
because like our brains run on like 20 watts. The interface with that might be the hard part, but it's possible.
but according to the studio, we're all too dumb to understand what any of that would mean.
This
And
was
that's why,
like 2000 or like
yeah,
1999 when they
Yep.
were creating. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and the studio told them it was too radical a concept, and the audience was too stupid to understand it, so they made them batteries.
Yeah. But then they
Yeah.
doubled down on the battery thing in the fourth film, which, oh well.
Well, I mean, you can't really go back on it when you're already 4 films in. That's like going
Yeah.
back in the middle of a sequel trilogy and going, by the way, Darth Vader wasn't really Luke's father.
Well,
It
they
was
had
that
like
That would be a
20
guy
twist.
in the
years,
cantina.
and it doesn't make as much sense for like the concept like they doubled down hard that they were batteries in this one rather than like double downing hard on like um if you've seen the film then you might know exactly the scene that I'm talking about. Then they're like, oh, like these two types of consciousness are really good rather than we're gonna make a lot of energy from all y'all. uh it's like, well, the whole like Matrix trilogy is like Adam and Eve story. um and Neo is the one that crucified. And I don't know how I feel about like them flipping the script. I don't know how much I can say without it being spoilers, but if you haven't seen the film, you can go
Frankly,
watch
I
the
always
film.
thought the fan theory that Smith was actually the one was a lot more interesting because it filled in a lot of some of the weird plot holes, mostly that were created by the second and third movie, but, you know.
And there's into the
Well,
Matrix video game that takes place during Reloaded. And then you have the alternate ending that comes from the Path of Neo video game, where the Wachowskis actually
I mean,
changed the ending, where you fight a giant mecha Smith. They literally appear
Everything
on
about
in
that last part of the sentence is I love.
yeah, they literally appear right before the battle and tell you about it. Like, hey, we
Yeah,
can't do the ending of the movie because that'd be boring for a video game, so we decided to change it this way.
affirmative. Although they did the Matrix 1 to be just like, this is the end. And it was a really good movie.
Yeah.
And they were like, let's make more money. So then second
pretty
and third one
much.
came out. I really like them, but then
That's
again, I'm very easy to please when it comes to like technology and psychoanalysis stuff. Did you ever see The Matrix, the animation?
The Animatrix, yes.
So, yeah, the
which one?
Animatrix.
There was like a whole bunch of different shorts in that thing.
Yep. I just had a trend with a
Oh,
bunch of other. Yeah, Animatrix, then there was like
so I
Batman Gotham Knights. Was another version.
The Matrix, the movie, created from like the concept of like an anime Matrix style like short novel. I don't remember exactly what the origins were, but I feel like
The
it
Matrix
was.
has a lot of different,
Inspirations from other
basically
stuff.
like,
I mean, Ghost in the Shell, you can put
like
in there as a
yeah,
big
basically
inspiration.
if you
Well, I was
take
thinking like
if they take Ghost in the Shell, like Blade Runner and Terminator, and you smash them all into one thing, and then sprinkle some other sci-fi elements into it, you get the Matrix.
Yeah, and
Well,
I know
I'm thinking,
they had the idea to do the Matrix
there's-
movie in 1996, but they had never directed a movie before. So the studio was like, "Well, if you direct a film, then we'll let you make the Matrix." So they made a movie called Bound before they were allowed to make the Matrix. So the movie would have came out like
well,
earlier,
did the Animatrix come out before or after the first Matrix?
after.
After.
It came out
Okay.
same year as Reloaded.
Yeah.
Because the
That
film
was a trip.
yeah.
It's the same with like Serial Experiments Lane. That type of just mind bending, I don't know what the heck is happening type of stuff is stuff that I love. So like the first half of the fourth film, I really loved for that reason. I'm like, okay, that's really cool. But I wish that they said, I don't know. For me, it would have been a really cool movie if they stuck with that, and then that was the movie. But I understand why they did the second half of the movie. I was like, yeah, I guess. That made it an alright movie rather than like a It made it like a regular common Hollywood movie rather than a um like this is a groundbreaking movie. Like they made three series, they made three things, and then they come back with like a thing, and then this was the thing. Like if it was like Animatrix, but like block, I don't know. I wish that it just mind bent me
Hmm.
continuously,
Yeah, I don't know
but
if
it didn't.
current day Warner Brothers would do that.
Yeah.
A lot of those movies aren't really
Oh
And
like
well.
suddenly,
the very
the
hard
blind
battle.
child reached through the screen and said, "There is no dance." And dance bent.
Distracted.
I thought you were just making a random noise.
Quick, while she's under the floor, donate, give money.
Yeah, it's up to your
All right.
audience. I'm not going to stop them.
Yeah.
Nightmare, how dare you? You're ridiculous. Ridiculous. Oh. Oh no. So I kick Forrester when he's down all the time, but you're encouraging him. You're setting a bad example. How dare you? You're enabling this little monster here.
It's
Thank you.
a bird in a suit. Bird. How's this this ain't a monster.
Yes, it's a mobster.
Yeah, mobster, not a monster.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Gonna
So yeah,
hear this
I
out.
believe so. Then the video goes on to say like, if you don't have a lot of IRL friends or if you don't have a lot of social friends, and you put yourself down because you're like, I don't have a lot of friends, I should be sad because I should have friends, but I don't have friends. It's perfectly fine not to have friends, not to have like deep emotional friends, not to have romantic, don't crash, not to have romantic friends, not to have people that you can tell your stuff to, but just have like surface friends that you do like get a milkshake with or whatever. Um, it's perfectly fine to not put yourself down because you don't have friends. If you feel like you're lacking social interaction, then yes, you can go out and search for that. But if you feel like you are lacking the idea of a social interaction, then you probably should rethink your priorities. Same with like marriage and relationships. If you feel like you are missing out on being um, romantically involved with a significant other, for the idea that everyone has told you to be romantically involved with a significant other, or that that's the idea and that will make you happy, that's probably not a good mindset to be in. Having a romantic partner will not make you happy. Being happy and then having a romantic partner will make you, and will make you actually worse off sometimes if that person isn't very good for you or isn't happy themselves, and there'll be an emotional drain on you. But if both of you are happy outside of each other and then form a connection together, that's a very healthy and yoked relationship. So the idea of yoking, um, A yolk is is inside an egg. That's a different thing. Another yolk, like an oxen yolk or a horse yolk, so you have two horses, both can pull 800 pounds. Like drag a cart of 800 pounds behind them. When you put both of them together, how much do they pull? Not 600 pounds, but like 3,000 pounds when they're pulled together and equally yoked. So you can multiply your effectiveness when you're with another person. If that person has the same goals, ideologies, the same healthy mindset that you are convincing yourself to have? No. That you've trained and dedicated your life towards. That's the idea of what a healthy relationship should be. And if you don't have that type of relationship, you can either work towards it, because not everyone is perfect, and perfect is different for every person. And you can only be perfect to yourself. And what you define as perfect can make you happy. Like, I am perfectly happy with who I am right now and what I'm doing. I don't have any regrets. I have things that I wish I did differently, but I won't do differently, or that I wouldn't have done differently. Right? No. I feel like regrets are something that you wish you would to go back and change, whereas um, there's things that I wish I had done differently, but I did not know in the time how to accomplish what I set out to do. And it sucks that it happened, but there's nothing that I can do about it. So I'm at peace, and I'm not going to do what I did in the past. I learned from my mistakes rather than dwelling on them and having a regret form out of it, or a guilt that I cannot act upon. Maybe that's what maybe that's what regret is a guilt from a former action that you cannot act upon. And then there's guilt that you can act upon, which you should, which is bettering your life. So saying sorry for calling a little burp here a monster. You're a very amazing person. But also, I joke with you all the time. What do you have right now? Good. Just like our train, and perhaps forgiving this. I just gave you a compliment, Forrester. How dare you make me regret what I just did?
To be fair, I wrote that before.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so that's where I think that the pursuit of happiness should make you happy. Right? The movie's really cool too. So the pursuit of having friends and like doing things with them, and so here's like a weird like social credence type of thing. Like, if I'm friends with person A and person A is really popular, then I'll have a tertiary reaction to whatever happens with that popular person will come to me. So, like, let's take a high school lunch table where you have a science project with a popular person, and popular person goes to the popular table. And if you really hit it off with this popular person at the science fair project that you're doing together, then that means that you can sit at the popular table and have more opportunities to meet other popular people. So if the thought of gaining that popularity consumes you and makes it more important than the science fair project or the person that you're with, that's bad. But that's a mindset that you can change. Where instead of it's, I know why this person is popular. They're really smart. They're really funny, and they contribute a lot to the science fair, that project that we're doing. So I'm gonna talk to them, see if we have any common interests. Oh, they play RuneScape too. Let's like get down and do RuneScape. And then through caring of other person and the pursuit of following somebody else's fun is how you make friends, even though you know socially that you'll gain from it, right? So we're all selfish creatures. We want to make sure that we eat to survive. We want to make sure that we have friends to survive. We want to make sure that we're popular with our bosses to get that raise. But the pursuit of that for the reward of that um, makes a cyclical cycle that would be detrimental to our mental health, whereas the pursuit of that for the reward of the pursuit, the reward for being helpful towards another person in the science robot, for being for as being the funny one in the group, being like, oh, well, this popular click right here, like this person needs some help with their voice acting. They're going to go into this thing, and I've done a lot of voice acting, so let's help them out because I know that. So I always have. Maybe not everyone thinks like this, but every time I talk with someone and every time I have a connection with someone, I have like a social list of like, if I get in good with this person, like these things are available to me. Um, and like I check things off and I'm like, okay, if I'm, I never understood the concept of socializing as a competitive sport. I do because I've been in the mindset of being jealous and I've been in the mindset of, how can this work out for me? And so that's a pitfall for creators, right? That's a pitfall for anyone who networks creatively. And so I have to redefine my reasons behind why I'm doing something. So someone can be friends with someone because they want to be popular themselves, and someone can be friends with someone because they find what the other person is popular for and find that attractive and want to be friends with them for that. But both of them can know that if I'm popular, that I'd become popular if I'm popular with that person. Right? It's a very like hard dichotomy to get around, but it's a feeling, it's an emotion, it's a reason behind why you do things. It can be seen by other people, and so a leech versus a symbiote. So a leech is something that attaches to you and sucks your blood. A symbiote is like your bacteria in your colon that takes um, the food that you digest. They live and grow inside of your system, and they help you digest and break down foods, so that way
I'm
you
too
can
much of a
absorb nutrients.
Spider-Man fan,
So that's a
so I don't
symbiotic
know.
relationship. Both of you are gaining something from it. Then
I have
there
a
is a leech.
Is it symbiote or
I have a
symbiote?
nerdy way of describing that relationship.
You just went down a bunch of bit rate, my friend.
Yes, your microphone is very.
You are,
Did
are
your
you
microphone
in?
change?
Are you further away from your microphone?
No,
Okay, say
Huh.
it again.
hang on, things are going haywire.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, yep. Never mind. So I'll continue while you get that fixed. So there's leeches, parasites, and symbiotes. Parasites cannot be seen by the person they're attached to, but they affect them in weird ways. Like they make them nauseous, they get them sick. Leeches can be seen by everyone around them. Maybe the leech is on the back, so that way the person can't see, but people around them can see them. And symbiotes can be seen and cannot be seen. Um, Symbiotes are people that contribute to the conversation that they're a part of.
Hmm.
So I guess a symbiotic relationship is what you want to have with your friends, rather than a parasitic or leeching relationship. So I think the right way to say, I want to network with this person so that way I can gain something from it, but I also want to give something. What can I give to them? Might be like the best way of thinking about it. It's like, oh, I'm really good with like body movements and doing comedical bits or thinking really hard about something or doing a project. So let's reach out like, hey, I'm going to do this talent show. Do you want to join? And I know that it'll be content for you to put up on your channel. And it would bring your community into this talent show, which would like raise the sight of what I'm doing. And so a symbiotic relationship of mutual beneficial stuff. So I try to make sure that I'm not parasitic in the way that I am interacting with other people on the platform. Right. So like Lolathon, I try, and Cyberchimp are friends of mine that I interact with and I engage with at a very comedic and high energy level. And that's very deliberate on my part. And that's why I don't like requests off of them every time I see them online.
True.
I'd rather, because even though technically it might be symbiotic, with the amount of requests, I might become annoying to that person. Attractive. And becoming annoying would then lessen any symbiotic effects that I might have. But then there are people who I don't care what we do, get like Angel and Hemo and people. I just like being their friend and we do stuff together. And I'm not necessarily getting anything from it, right? Other than being friends with people and having a fun time with people who I think are fun.
Hmm.
Oh, and then we have parasocial relationships, which in the apocalypse where everyone is gone is the only type of relationship you can have. Parasocial relationships also fulfill our need for having friends by having a friend who is separated from us through a one-way mirror. Again. So parasocial relationships are one-way streets, symbiotic or two-way streets. Parasitic is a one-way pull that is hidden, and leeches is a one-way pull that is seen. Oh, so like Bob, Wade, and Mark, they do a podcast together. They do videos and things together, and they've been friends before Mark was popular. And then Sean and Mark knew each other through work, through being famous. And so I think that Bob, this is going to get like a hot topic, right? So Bob has a more symbiotic relationship with his friends, whereas Wade tries but fails. But also, it's their friendship. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. Like, he's a good friend, but he's not the funny one. Bob's the funny one. Wade and Mark are fine. Huh. That's neither here nor there. That's just me listening and being in the creative space and being like, okay, these are the things that I would want to work on when doing things with somebody. I don't know. It's interesting to say the most. Yeah. So I guess that is everything that I had on my mind today.
All right.
There's no one online that I need to say hi to. So let's go say hi to O-Girls. Because I am not picky and I want to get back to RuneScape.
All right.
Oh, I'm addicted. I need help. Thank you all. I hope that this was helpful, enlightening. It was no, I don't know. It's things that's been on my mind for a while. Especially like the Mark Bob and Wade thing. Like you don't have to be the perfect friend, you just have to be a friend. Yeah. It's weird. Anyways, so long, a farewell, I'll be to saying goodbye. Ah, I don't know. I feel like one of these days I'm going to say something that's just going to straight up get me canceled. Because I'm very opinionated.
Hmm.
Or rather, I have a lot of things that I say out loud that might
You want
not
to be very
best
mindful of what you
represent me.
say.
Yeah,
Only
but also
controversial.
Like put a thing out there, just like maybe I shouldn't say that.
I guess.
No,
I don't know.
I wanted to tweet out something today, but I was like, I don't know how people will take it. I want to keep it kind of vague about something, but I think people might take it very differently. Like they might think it's of a weird subject, the one I'm referencing.
Affirmative. Yeah, that's why I don't save any of my videos, any of like my Twitch streams, because the people that were here, and there's like only 17 people. None of it's gonna get clipped. None
Mm-hmm.
of what I say is really matters. But it's a way for me to think and learn in public. To exercise my right to say whatever the heck that I want in an anonymous space. Oh, but also I don't know, I might be the only one that thinks like me, but I don't think so. Or rather, I might have the same opinion as like this person one thing, this person another thing, and this person another thing. Bring it together and you have like this opinion here.
Would you like to get opinions from people from all sides, or do you have like a people that you listen to that like have the same opinion as you?
I watch whatever the heck the algorithm gives me. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I don't know. Every once in a while, I'll just go through and watch like religious, like atheist, like back and forth, where two people like an atheist will look at a religious person's video, and then like a religious person will look at an atheist video, and like they'll do like reactionaries, like comments back and forth, and I'm like, okay. And then watching science videos for people like I think one of my belief right now as far as religion goes is that there cannot be an observable, a meaningful, observable God. Because if there was, science would have proved that he, she, they, it existed. That doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't a God, just that whatever systems were in place means that we can never prove or disprove that there is one. But that also means that you can live your life believing or not believing, and it will not change anything about this life here. It might in some other thing, but some other thing can never go backwards. It can never reach back to us. So, yeah. Like even looking at religious doctrine that I was taught growing up, it was the same type of thing where you believe in faith. There's no way to prove that there is a God there. You believe and you have a still small feeling that's what it is. No, that's not proof. That's not a reason to follow what somebody else said. That's divine revelation from somebody is can be looked at two ways. Either there is a God and you are receiving divine revelation, or there isn't a God. Let's say that there is a God. That means that that divine revelation can tell you something and can be observed. It can be tested. Oh no, that's not how prayer works. That's not how revelation works. It cannot help you win the lottery. It cannot help you like go down this safe street rather than this safe street. It's not going to help you like cure cancer. So you're telling me that there's this believable, still small feeling that you believe in. That tells you what to do, but it doesn't actually do anything, and you can't observe it. There's no like scientific study where 1,000 people all pray to have a good day and like not go down the dark alley and get murdered, and then like the average of the crime rate and stuff like dropped dramatically versus this people who prayed to Buddha and believed in the same thing, and the crime rate actually went up instead, or very similar. Not maybe not Buddha and God, or maybe like a God A and God B, A/B testing gods, and like have an observable difference. Like he might not save everyone, but if it did work, it would have an observable reaction in mass in statistics. But there is no statistical significance to any miracle or God's work that we can observe and be like, there might be something here. Because even if there was like, oh, we see that there's 1,000 people that prayed here and like the crime rate went down. Let's look at all the factors. Let's say, okay, and then there's also 1,000 people here that prayed, but this belief says that going out and drinking on a Saturday night is a good thing. This belief says that drinking anything is a bad thing and we shouldn't do it. And so all these people don't drink, all these people do drink. That could be another reason rather than a prayer did something. There need to be more and more and more tests, but we would actually narrow down to something like scientifically provable if it did exist. Therefore, on the flip side, if God does not exist, you don't have to change anything. You just have to live. You just have to do whatever you're doing over here, except without like the mental stress of living a perfect life so that way you can get into heaven. And all of the gospel and doctrine that was given over here, like marriage should only be between a man and a wife, and or whatever religious doctrine is over here, that being taken away literally like frees up avenues, stops hate crimes, stops like a lot of bad stuff that these people preach not to do. It stops it by getting rid of something that they think might be good. that they believe exists but cannot prove it. So I think a secular view on life gives us or at least a, if not a secular view, a scientific look on whatever you believe view on life, where I believe that a man and a wife should be married and that homosexuality is a sin. But I'm going to support gay marriage. I'm going to support other people doing the sin that I believe is wrong. Okay. Well, now you're going to hell because you supported somebody else doing a sin. Oh no. So now you have this mental dichotomy where you're torn. You're like, I'm helping people who are in need, like the Trevor Project. I'm donating to the Trevor Project. But my religion says that if I support other people in their sin, then I'm accountable for their actions. It's like me handing someone a gun and telling them to shoot themselves. Oh no. And all else being the same, this person over here supports the Trevor Project, this person over here supports the Trevor Project. This person over here now has like guilt and is racked with grief and is depressed. This person over here is filled with relief, filled with sanctification, filled with like they did a good job for somebody else who was in the dire straits. Actions and beliefs have consequences based on your own personal religious beliefs. I don't know. So that's what I've been looking at is like Bible bashing, like, well, in verse here it says that God floated over to the island Cambridge. And verse here says that God could never float, and therefore the Bible contradicts itself, case closed type of thing. Like that doesn't solve the root of the problem. The root of the problem is that people are hating themselves because they're helping somebody else. The root of the problem is people are hurting other people because somebody else told them that whatever that person was doing was a sin and you should do a hate crime on them. Those are the problems, bigotries, even doing something out of love. Like, I want to convert you to being straight and not being homosexual. That is a hate crime. Even if it's out of love, like, all right, let's bring you into counseling. Let's talk about this and let's do everything that we can to fix you. That is a hate crime. Even if the person like goes through with it, and miraculously converts, or that's a good question. By homosexuality, because people can still flip. Like some days I can be like, that man's looking really nice, and other days I'm be like, I don't want to look at a man. I like women better, and like that can happen, right? So technically, like some conversion kind of can happen, but also someone who is like staunchly like, no, I really am homosexual. I really like ladies, and I'm a lady, and really like non-binary, like all the different spectrum. It's like forcing them into that situation is very detrimental. So it worked for my cousin Jared, but it didn't work for my cousin Josh. Well, that's because Jared has the spectrum that they're on that allows for this to kind of coincide with their own beliefs. Whereas Josh over here doesn't, not even remotely. Like this actively hurts them that you believe like this. So I don't know. That's my reason why I believe that religion is kind of bogus. For one, there is no observable God. There can be a God, but if there is, then there's nothing that we can do about it. And there's nothing that we can do to say that they exist or not exist. So that technically makes me agnostic. might believe in something, might not. But on the other hand, as far as social issues goes, I prefer not to believe in any organized religion or any practices outside of ethics and outside of human thinking based on like general well-being of other people. Attractive and people going to hell or whatever. I don't want to adhere to a God who would send me to hell for helping like a homosexual get out of a house that was actively beating them. Right? I don't want anything to do with that God. There are like religions and beliefs that says, oh no, you're not going to hell or anything, you're just going to like a lesser degree of heaven. I don't want to be in the place where people didn't help somebody. I'd rather be in the place where I'm doing what I'm doing now, helping people, educating people, making people laugh. If there's a lesser degree of heaven that allows me to live my life the way that I'm living now, I am happy with that. I don't want to be to the place, to the higher degree of heaven that says, well, you have to be straight, you have to like do these things that ostracize an entire group of people. That's not how it works. That's not nice. So I am happy because afterlife, if it exists, I'm living my life the way that I want to continue living it. So I'm happy with the way that I'm living my life. So if there's an afterlife and it's just and fair, then I'll be placed in a place where I'm able to continue to be happy with the way that I live. If there is no afterlife, or if there's like a hell and whatever, then living out of fear like is not a way for me to live. Living out of fear that I'll do something wrong is detrimental for living a healthy life here. And all I have is this time on earth. And so I'd rather believe in something that's an afterlife that's cool and fine, or nothing at all, which is complete atheist. Like there's no afterlife. It's just you're here and then you're done. The end. And then there's like reincarnation, or like, well, you're gonna get ground to dust and then like your essence will be slurred on into the wind. Like that means nothing to me. Like I guess, like technically, like I'll be buried and then like I'll go into the ground and maybe make more life, or maybe become asteroid dust or stardust or whatever. But that means nothing to me. Or I'll become a puppy. I'm not gonna remember the life before that or the life now. And oh well, doesn't matter to me now. Huh. So your question: do I listen to both sides? Um, if I realize that there is a side to behold, then I try to see both sides. So like flat earthers, like I'm trying to look at them as like, well, what do they believe? And like I'll watch a flat earther thing and like, I guess you can believe in that, but there's a lot of holes that like my narrative like doesn't take part in. And I don't know.
The
It's
flat earthers, though, is there's quantifiable evidence
yeah,
that the earth is not flat.
yeah.
You can prove the earth is curved in elementary school
Mm-hmm.
with
And
stuff
this
you can
goes
get
to like a
kids to do.
higher concept of belief, facts, opinions, and then beliefs again. So like I can believe that if I jump, I will not touch the floor again. Well, maybe that wasn't the time. Maybe I have to do it like 10 more times. Okay, so it's not happening right now. It might happen tomorrow. Somebody can believe in something so hard that any evidence to the contrary will not change their belief. So it doesn't matter if we prove or unprove or whatever. People believe in the way that they believe because they believe it. So I just look at what they believe and I'm like, okay, I guess people can believe in that. But like, and there's nothing that I can say that will change their beliefs because flat earthers have been hit the hardest with anti-belief, whatever. Why do people still believe? Because I want to believe. I still want to believe that when I jump, I will eventually fly. But no amount of trying will ever change that. even though trying off of the balcony will kill me, and my fear of being killed because it's happened so many times before outperforms my fear, my want to actually fly. It's like maybe if I jump off the Empire State Building, I'll actually fly. But with all those other times, maybe it's like the second or third time I jump off the Empire State Building, and I only get one chance. So I don't know. So as long as your beliefs aren't actively hurting you or the other people around you, which I get that some people are, well, that's neither here nor there at this conversation. But yeah, the as long as but every belief hurts someone somehow, despite whatever we do. So there's nothing that I can do to do it other than being a mindful observer, surrounding myself with like-minded people. Because if I surrounded myself with non-like-minded people, that would be more detrimental to everyone involved than it would be to the people that I click with. Yeah. But there's also something to be said about defending your belief, if you want to strengthen your belief. So I defended my beliefs in my religion for so long that I had like all the answers to everything. And then my whole life flipped on top of its head. And I'm like, okay, well, let's like move back from that. And then over the course of a couple of years, I'm like, well, that's not something I believe in anymore. I can see why people believe it. I can see why defending it will get even better. So that's why, like, Jehovah's Witness and Mormon missionaries and other missionaries that go out and proselytize to people, that's why they send them out so young and send them out so constantly, is to have them defend their belief when they believe it the hardest. Because when you have to defend your belief gets stronger. It's brainwashing. Oh well. So yeah, I look at both sides because I've been on both sides.
Hmm.
But like, if I had to choose between tater tots and French fries, like I didn't know if there was a side to begin with, type of thing. It's like, well, let's go watch them because that like intrigues me. Like, watch the match. I don't know. But if I don't know that there's a side to something, I can't really look at both sides. So as long as I'm enlightened about something and it intrigues me enough to go search for it, then yeah, sure.
All right.
But I think like looking, like asking the questions, do you look at both sides? Is a valid question, but I think the bigger thing is like, do you look at both sides on the things that are really important? I don't know. I could talk for hours. And I know this because my throat is getting dry and it's like, hey, stop this.
Yeah, I don't think
Any
you
other
do.
questions before I escape to RuneScape?
Nah, that's about it for now.
Alright, so
No.
speaking of
Oh,
jumping and flying, right?
wait a minute. We play this.
So
Are you gonna
yeah, so there's this
say?
high-rise bar, right?
There's this high-rise. Continue.
High-rise bar, right? And there's a guy sitting there drinking, and this other guy comes up to him. He goes, "Hey, buddy, what'd you recommend for a drink?" The guy's like, "Well, I try the house special. You make you fly." The guy's like, "Yeah, whatever." So the guy gets a house special, drinks it, goes, "Yeah, watch." Jumps out the window, flies around the building a couple times, lands again. The other guy's like, "What? That's impossible." And the guy's like, "I told you that house special, you'll fly." So the guy's like, "I'm gonna have a house special." Grabs it, downs it. He's like, "Oh boy, I can't wait to fly." Runs, jumps out the window. The other guy, first guy walks up the window, just kind of looks down. Bartender comes around and goes, "You know, Superman, you're a real jerk."
Amazing. I like that.
All right. So, quick question, or this could be a long answer. Why do you not like Evangelion? Why is it always the bane whenever you hear the music?
So, for one, it was a little joke that Bunny put on or like that I put on. I was like, stop it, no. And then just kind of escalated from there. That's one thing. But also the reason why um, I have like a slight negative reaction to it is the same. I have a slight negative reaction to all mecha anime, simply for the fact because it's a mecha anime. Uh, because they dehumanize the things that I want to be humanized. I'd rather watch a sword fight between two samurais than a sword fight between two mechas. Even though they could be the exact same plot wise, just that visual distinction between the two leads me to a more empathetic relationship with the characters. So that's why I don't inherently like any mecha anime. The only one I kind of get behind, but not very much anymore, was Ereka 7, which is like a surfboarding mecha
Oh, yes,
anime.
I'm aware.
And even now, like watching back, it's like, it's very slow. It's not, uh, it's not as good as Violet Evergarden, which is very human, very personable. And most mecha animes that I've seen are epic fantasies. What? Don't crash.
Uh, oh. Oh.
Well,
Well, that was an
I
ending.
guess RuneScape was like, nope, you're gonna come play me now.
I'm gonna say she's not joining back.
Yeah, probably not.
Hmm. Do we happen to know what dances like PC specs are that she keeps crashing like this?
I think this is basically just her VR batteries dying.
Ah,
It's been about that long.
did it only last like 2.5 hours?
Yeah,
Damn.
about two and a half. Then gotta get fresh batteries.
Oof. Mm, She's, she's still listening on the social, so she's probably just a little bit further to update. Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, the website has dances offline.
Okay. Oh, yeah, no, it's also updated in the social. That's an interesting profile picture. Okay. Yeah, I did not know that the actor who played Kai in Ultraman Powered was also Jiraiya slash Ninja Black in Ninja Sentai Kaku Rangers a year later. So that was interesting. And also he's actually a really good martial arts fighter in a bunch of movies. I was watching him in a couple of scenes. I'm like, wow, he's got some really good skill. And he was in 2 video game movies. He was in the movie adaptation of Dead or Alive as Ryu. So he was Ryu Hayabusa, and then he was in the Tekken 2 movie playing Kazuya Mishima.
Speaking of video game movies, I heard The Rock said he was going to be doing another video game movie.
Yeah. I think people are trying to figure out what it is. I mean, I know the Rampage movie I actually really liked. For how simplistic the whole concept can be, it was actually pretty fun. You had a little reference with like having the villainous woman have like a red dress on, because in the arcade game, if you eat the woman with the red dress, that actually gives you bonus points. It's got like a weird little reference.
Yes.
But I remember Dave and Buster's, they had a little arcade game based on that. We just had like a mashup button.
Yeah, I remember those days. And then they also released it on the 64 too.
Yeah, do you remember the developers for the Godzilla fighting games that were on the PS2, Xbox, GameCube? Like
Yeah.
Pipework. They did a Rampage game like that. It was called Total Destruction. It was the same engine.
Yeah.
Had like bunch of
Yeah,
monsters.
that game actually came with my use.
Ooh. There's can't do. Alright. It's time for me to go. You have work in the morning. It's like almost 10:40.
Yeah.
Probably should do this before I leave.
Yes.
Right. Now see you later.
See you later.
Me waving at you. All right. And with that, it's time to end. I need to figure out what this is all about. Why do I have 2? Why? Why do I have 2 safety grids? I don't understand. Help. Zoop. So put you back to default. Give me back my background, please. Boop. And change it to this. Because my feet are on the ground, but it doesn't matter. It don't matter. Just give me my keyboard, please. Do, 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 do. It was Revy Red Fox was, I believe, the one that. What the fuck? No, get that out of here. Well, thank y'all so much for watching tonight's stream. Game. I know it wasn't on yesterday. I was kind of just futzing around, being into learning a bunch of about Ultraman, trying to the whole franchise, just trying to learn everything. So that's why I saved it till tonight. Hey, because I was thinking my anniversary was really soon, but I mean, it still is. It's literally next week. It's my 1 year anniversary of streaming VRChat. The first time I hit go live in VRChat in the GoldenEye Dam world, wearing that one red ripped coat, Alistair model. It was the first time I actually spoke on stream because I was completely silent until that point. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching tonight's stream. If you did enjoy, please be sure to click on the follow button down below. You have to remember, this is mirrored, so it's here. For me, it's my left. For you, it's on the right. Right. So I do try to stream every day or every other day. Sometimes I'll even do like 2 streams, like one in the morning, one in the afternoon, kind of depending on how much time I have to do certain things. Like what I pick. I do have like some games that I could play like for a little bit of, but it's all like very random. When I decide to do things. All falls on like, would people want to see this? Like I want to show this off, but does other people, would they be really interested in seeing it? Which is kind of the hard part. So, any updates of anything I'm doing, just please be sure to follow me on my social platforms here. Twitter is a decent place to follow. To do posts here, there, I'll talk about certain things happening. I'll share photos of stuff I've gotten. That's all there, including some stuff I may or may not be playing. I do have a YouTube for my VODs, so I have well over a year worth of previously done playthroughs of other games. So you can give a look. You also see like how year progression of how I am as a streamer, just like not knowing what to do and just kind of go from there. The quality of the streams changing, even the VTubing, like changing how all that stuff works, like how many different programs I've used over a year, how much money I spent on that stuff. I do have a TikTok, but I do have a TikTok, but there's currently nothing on there. I might do something with it. Just gotta figure it out. Like what will be good on there, but it's all in the mind. Just trying to figure out what to do with it. But if you do not want to individually join that stuff, you can also just join the Discord and you react to the roles. You get access to all that stuff anyway, and you have like a bonus little general chat. And I do share stuff in there too that isn't on the Twitches. It's little personal stuff, but I'll all share stuff like, hey, check this out. And it's about it off my chest. That's all I want to do for today. Tomorrow is kind of iffy. I don't know 100% what to do. I have ideas for games, but I don't know if I can do them all. If I can do like a morning stream, do it real quickly. Should I do it in the afternoon? Should I just take the day off? I don't know. It's all over the place for me. But that's all to be thought of tomorrow. I gotta go to bed. So, whether it was for you morning, afternoon, evening, night, whether you're watching this live or you're watching this as a VOD on either Twitch or YouTube, I want to thank y'all so much for watching. I'll catch y'all next time. Bye-bye. I should have a window here to click. It would make this a lot more better and more seamless. Just have the thing on the side right next to the camera to just click it. Right. Thank you, Kill for Skills. There will be no rate today, by the way. I'm just gonna end it. I don't know who the raid's kind of late, so I don't know many people who are on right now. Yeah, see y'all later. if the thing wants to pop up for me to